Welcome, guys. Hey, welcome, Yuki. Corpse party. We're almost done with this. Hey, Cardi, what's up? So we got 2 more chapters. Mire and Tooth. Let's do it. You're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah, Yuki's beating you for the title. She has the most chatter.
ここどこ
Oh, it's Yuka. The first thing I saw when I opened my eyes was the ceiling of a dark, glooming room with flickering, uncovered light bulbs. Yes, you currently hold the crown right now. The random bursts of light they shone were so dim that it just barely lit up the wood grain on the ceiling, enough to see patterns in it. The back of my head hurt, the same way it would if someone had just pulled my hair really hard. I couldn't do anything about it, so I just frowned and waited for it to subside. I wonder if I'd hit my head somewhere.
何にも思い出せないよ
Oh, this looks familiar. Let's see. I suddenly realized that my feet weren't touching the ground. In the first game, she got kidnapped by that guy. Oh, and this looks like the room. I wonder if that's what's happening. That's one of the ways she died in the first game. And there was a cold sensation along my back. I must have been lying down on a hard surface. Yeah, I'm not sure you saw that part, but there was a guy who wanted her as his little sister, basically. So he kind of just took her. I tried to move, but my arms and my legs both had gone to sleep. Yeah, his name was Kazuma or Kizami. One of those names. I just had to keep lying here until they woke up. I gave up on moving and instead just stared up at the glooming ceiling again.
やだなあの木目なんか人の顔っぽい
Yeah, Kizami, the strong guy. Yeah. Not the guy with the hammer. Kizami is like the older, taller student. I knew it wasn't actually a person, but it really did look like one. He was glaring down at me with a hateful expression. It was creepy.
なんだっけどこかで見たことがあるような
Oh, that was it. It looked like the Scream, that Munch painting we studied in class, except his face was screaming in anger. He hated me. Hey, Casey, what's up?
だんだん怖くなってきちゃった。
If only Big Brother were here with me. He'd just pat my head and laugh and tell me how silly I was being.
そうだ、お兄ちゃんは。
I was still a little disoriented, but I turned and twisted my head as best as I could to see if I could find him anywhere. Why was I sleeping in a place like this anyway? And why wasn't Big Brother at my side, like he always was?
確かお兄ちゃんの学校に傘を届けて、みんなでおまじないをして、そしたら古い学校に。私はずっとおトイレに行きたくて、でも途中でお兄ちゃんとはぐれちゃって。
I think Casey's beating you too, Cardi, for most chatting.
お兄ちゃん。
Why were we in this school to begin with? Maybe the charm failed and this was our punishment. Alright, I'm back. Maybe I was the one who messed it up. I probably shouldn't even have been here. Hey, don't spam my chat. You gotta win fair and square. Then we'd still be here together.
お兄ちゃんとはぐれてから私はどうしたんだっけ。そうだ、やっとトイレを見つけて入ったんだ。そしたら首をつっている人がたくさん。それで驚いて廊下に出てへたり込んじゃって。
He says it's her crown now. You see that?
その後誰かと話したんだ。確か妹さんとはぐれちゃった人に会ったんだ。
Yep, she's talking about him. That's him.
一緒にお兄ちゃんを探してくれるって名前は。そう、刻みゆうやさん。
Kizami. Yuya. Kizami.
痛いよ。なんで体が動かないの。なんで。
I then realized that I couldn't see my arms. Where were they? Why weren't they at my sides? What? They were still numb, too. So I couldn't feel where they were either. But I tried my best to move them anyway.
この音、縄だよね。
I think she's tied up.
私、縛られてるの。
I thought maybe the reason I couldn't feel my arms or legs and couldn't move was because I was tied up, really tight, and it was cutting off my circulation.
お願い動いて。
With some effort, I was finally able to move my fingertips. I started feeling everything I could, grateful even for this little bit of reassurance.
なんか触った。
The rope around my wrist had been tied so tight and looped over many times. And with the circulation trickling back into my hands, it was really painful.
痛いよ。
I was so scared. It felt like I'd forgotten how to breathe.
誰か来る。
Oh no. Somebody's coming. The footsteps were echoing out in the hallway. They stopped right in front of this room.
お兄ちゃん。お兄ちゃん。
I wiggled in place and screamed as loud as I could. I didn't even care about the old splintery rope cutting into my wrists and ankles anymore.
お兄ちゃん。お兄ちゃん助けて。ゆかはここだよ。助けて。
暴れない方がいい。余計きつくなってしまうよ。待たせてしまったようだね。暗くて怖かっただろ。
That's him. That's Kizumi. Yep. Wow. He did tie her up.
刻みさん。
Mm-hmm.
大丈夫かい、ゆかちゃん。
He was looking at me with a caring, sympathetic smile on his face. He seemed to really be concerned about me.
助けてください。気がついたら縛られてて。
ああ、それは僕が縛ったんだよ。大事な妹ともう二度とはぐれないようにね。
Oh my gosh. Ugh. Look at her face.
あの。
She's like, what did this guy just say?
君は僕の大事な妹だ。だから僕と離れないようにしっかり縛っておかないと。
どうして。刻みさん。嘘でしょ。
どうして？君こそ僕の妹なのになぜわからないんだい？
わかりません。だって私は。
ゆかはまだ小さいからわからないのかもしれないね。大丈夫。これからお兄ちゃんが教えてあげるよ。僕たち兄弟はこれから分かり合うんだ。
His eyes looked like they were staring off far into the distance, like he was in a trance.
怖い。怖いよ。お兄ちゃん。
Why was he doing this? Why did he tie me up? And why did he look so happy about it? I didn't get any of it. Every hair on my body was standing on end. I was terrified.
もう逃げられないの。
The corners of my eyes were on fire. I couldn't stop myself from crying. Tears were flowing down my face like a waterfall. Kizami smiled, then reached out and touched my cheek. His hand was ice cold. It was like there was no blood flowing through it at all, like the hand of a dead person.
君が目覚めてくれるのをずっと待っていたんだ。さあ、僕に魂の輝きを見せてくれ。君のすべてをかけて、いい声で泣いてくれるよね。
He slowly and hesitantly took his hand off my cheek and began walking around me towards my feet. Then he gently grabbed my skirt with one hand and drew a knife from his breast pocket with the other.
It's show time!
Oh God. Oh my God. Wait.
そう、それだよ。僕が求めていたのはその声、その顔だ。恐怖と絶望が頂点に達した時、魂は最高の輝きを放つ。それをもっと見たい。それを僕に向けてくれ。ゆかちゃんならもっと輝けるはずなんだ。
Bro is hyperventilating. He's that obsessed.
大丈夫。お兄ちゃんが手伝ってあげるよ。鮮血にまみれ、痛みにもがき、苦しむ姿は今よりもっと綺麗に違いない。どうしたんだい、ゆうか。休んじゃダメだよ。まだまだこれからなんだからね。
Right?
さあ、お兄ちゃんって呼んでごらん。
I know he did not say call me. Call me that.
何を言っているんだい、ゆうか。お兄ちゃんはほら、君の目の前にいるじゃないか。
ゆかのお兄ちゃん。
The panic and fear just kept getting more overpowering. I think I was hyperventilating. But Kizumi showed no mercy. Instead, he reached out and grabbed my neck.
本当に生きているウサギはうるさいな。
息ができない。
なんて細い首なんだ。しなやかで柔らかい。君の頸動脈の太さと 頸椎の形がよくわかるよ。なんて戦場的な作りをしているんだ、君の筋は。苦しいかい？苦しいよね。
Damn.
床が悪いんだよ。僕以外のお兄ちゃんはここにはいないはずなのに。
With that, he let go of my neck, but then hastily pulled the knife in his hands right up to my face. He made sure I could see every inch of it clearly, and just held it there, slowly turning it for what felt like an eternity. Casey, bro. What in the did he?
ちゃんと見えてるかな、ゆうか。
God. This guy, man. Like, I don't even know. This is insane. How is she gonna get out of this? The knife was stained with red splatter marks. No, not even red, just dark. It wasn't a color. I knew well, but there was only one thing it could have been. Yeah, it's blood. Yeah.
ああ、これかい？心配しなくてもいいよ。少し黒崎で汚れているけど、まだよく切れるから。
So yeah, this is after he killed Kurosaki. He killed Kurosaki and kicked him down the hole in the first game, like through the floor. I was shivering so hard, I could feel my teeth vibrating. A chill ran through every part of me, as if I were so afraid that it had actually lowered my body temperature. The chattering coming from inside my mouth was getting louder and louder, to such an extent that even I was getting distracted by it.
いい顔だ。僕の妹はいい仕事をする。少し布が邪魔だな。
It is, yeah. Whoa. Kizumi suddenly tore my uniform, exposing my stomach.
なんだこの水風船のようなお腹は。たっぷり内臓が詰まっているじゃないか。
What a thing to say, bro. Like, what else is... He laid the knife blade flat across my belly button, and the sudden sensation of cold metal against my skin sent even more shivers up and down my spine.
痛かったら声を上げていいからね。恥ずかしいことじゃないんだよ。もう終わりかい？どうしたんだい、ゆうか。まさかこれで終わりじゃないだろう。せっかく欲しかった妹が手に入ったのに。
But it was completely dry. I actually wanted to cry for help, but the walls of my air pipes were sticking together. Breathing was hard enough.
返事を、ゆうか。 いい子だ。じゃあ本番に行くよ。
Fear had taken over. I couldn't hold myself back. I knew it wouldn't go over well, and I knew it would hurt. But I forced myself to cry out. Oh my gosh. Where is Satoshi? We need Satoshi in here.
君のお兄ちゃんは僕だろ。謝りなさい、ユウカ。
Apologize. Jeez.
違うだろう。お兄ちゃんごめんなさいだ。もっと心を込めて。
No, she is a loyal little sister. Look at that. She said, "You are not my brother." Even when she's being threatened.
僕がお兄ちゃんじゃない。このなんだ今のは。気のせいか。おもらしするほどに僕が嫌いなのか。
Had this been another certain genre. Oh no.
興味深いな。そんな格好になってまで兄貴を呼ぶのか。
She wet herself.
なんて哀れな。僕の可愛い妹だ。今気持ちよくさせてあげるよ。
What did he say?
もうそんな哀れな姿で泣かなくていい。哀れ。今俺はこの子を見て哀れと言ったか。なぜ
Is he having an inner crisis right now?
なぜ哀れと思った。
Why am I feeling pity for her?
何なんだこの気分は。かわいそう。俺にもそんな感情が。俺にもまだそんな感情が生まれる未来が残されているというのか。他の奴らとは違う。この俺にも。
ですからあの子がそんなことするはずがありません。
Kizumi's mother. So we're in a flashback right now.
残念ですが本人は ゆうやくんは相手の子を傷つけようと思ってハサミを持ったと言うんです。わざとやったとおっしゃるんですか？私たちが駆けつけた時、彼は血だらけになった自分の手を見て笑っていました。とにかくこちらではもう対応しかねます。お引き取りください。待ってください。
なんだ、あいつの目潰れなかったのか。
俺は幼い頃から命に思いやりを持ったり、他人の心を感じたりする方法がわからなかった。
Possesses no sympathy, no empathy, no respect for life.
次第に親たちはあくまでも見るような目で俺を疎んじるようになり、兄と姉ばかりに愛情を注ぎ始めた。成績優秀で人格者の兄と姉ばかり。
So this guy was like serial killer in the making, huh? Before he came here. I guess this just brought it out.
さすが周りが揃って認める人格者は違うと思ったよ。親でさえ諦めた俺を兄と姉だけは接し続けていたんだ。特に兄貴はその吐き気がするほどの優等生ぶりを振りかざし、熱心に俺をいい弟にしようとした。あいつは兄の立場を利用して俺に命令し、俺にしつこくつきまとった。そうだ。小学生の頃、俺は一度だけ本気で兄にぶつかったことがあったんだ。
なんてことしてるんだ。ヒューヤ、何を燃やしたんだ。
何って動物だよ。ああ、匂うから怒ってんのか。しょうがないじゃん。今殺したばかりでまだ血が残ってる。いって。何すんだよ、バカに。
I honestly had no idea why he'd struck me. But this was the first time I'd ever been on the receiving end of violence. And I was pissed. I tried to jump him, but he was just too big. I didn't stand a chance.
どうして命を大切にしない。どうしてこんなこと。殺すなんて。なぜこんなことするんだ、ユウヤ。
うるせえ、俺が拾ってきたんだ。切り殺そうが何しようが俺の勝手だろ。
Couldn't believe the asshole actually threw a punch at me. I was determined to hit him back. I wasn't gonna give up until I succeeded. Unfortunately, his size really was an insurmountable obstacle for me. My attempt to fight back was cut short by another, much harder blow to the same cheek.
黙れ。
That was twice now. I was gonna make him pay. I swore I'd injure him. My punch was gonna connect. If I couldn't hit him in the head, any other part of his body would do just as well.
くそ、先に生まれただけで偉そうにしやがって。俺がもっとでかければ。
そういう問題じゃないだろ。成長しろ、ゆうや。本当に頭の悪い男でなければいずれ理解できるはずだ。今ある体格差や年の差はすぐに何の意味もなくなる。大事なのは心の成長なんだ。
Yeah, his mental health is what matters. Something's not right with him.
他人の痛みが分かる人間になってくれ。
I could have sworn I saw tears welling in his eyes. The hell was that about? He just beat me up. And here he is looking sad about it.
俺は兄貴とは違う。
違わない。お前は俺の弟だ。ずっとお前は俺の弟だ。それは一生変わらない。
I can still remember what a disgustingly sentimental look he was giving me when he said that.
死ねよ、死ね死ね死ね。兄貴なんか殺してやる。何すんだよ。
ゆうや、やめなさい。
話せ話せよ。待てよバカに。
いいか。大事なのは心の成長だ。胸に刻み込んでおけ。
偽善者が。って思いっきりぶん殴りやがって。
His brother cares about him.
ゆうや、大丈夫？頭打たなかった？
ほっとけよ。
今はまだわからなくても、きっとあんたが大人になれば理解できるから。
俺のことを理解できないのは姉貴たちの方だろ。なんで俺が一番下なんだよ。下の兄弟が欲しい。俺ならもっと理解して絶対に可愛がってやるのに。
兄さんも私もあんたが大好きよ。
はあ？
私たちは分かってるから、あんたが本当は優しい子だってこと。この子のお墓作ってあげようね、ゆうや。
そんなんゴミ箱に捨てりゃいいだろ。
ゆうや、あんたこのままじゃ一生一人ぼっちになっちゃうよ。
My sister grabbed me by both of my shoulders and looked me right in the eyes when she said this. But I didn't care about a word she was saying. I just pushed her away.
俺のことが好きだから俺のことを分かったふりをするな、この嘘つき女。
ゆうや、嘘って。
俺は誰も信じない。誰にも負けない。俺に嘘をつくやつは許さない。絶対だ。
そうだった。この頃からだ。人間の本当の気持ちを。そう、正直な反応を見るには どうすべきか考えるようになったのは
He's still that same kid, yeah. He still thinks the same.
周りの連中を理解できない俺のことを理解してくれる者などいない。
No one seems to understand that I'm incapable of understanding the people around me.
処世術を得た俺は目立たず毎
Some
日
people
を
are
過ご
like
す
this, though.
ため常にそういう自分を演じるようになっていた。
He can't understand, or he just doesn't feel the same way other people do. He doesn't feel sympathy or empathy.
つまらない話に興味を持ったかのように笑い、同情したふりを装い、傷ついた顔を作ってやった。偽りの仮面に気づかず、笑顔で言い寄ってくるクラスメイトたち。奴らは全部嘘っぱちだ。
Yeah, psychopath, basically.
本質も見えていないくせに、上辺だけで人を分かったようなふりをする。俺の簡単な演技に騙される。頭の軽くて愚かな蔑視すべき存在。兄貴たちと同じだ。俺に嘘をつく許されざる存在だから試したいと思っていたんだ。他人を本当に理解することができる方法、俺を理解させる方法。気づかなかったろ。俺はずっとお前らを殺したいと思ってたって。
That's crazy. I wonder if any of you were aware that all I ever wanted was to kill you. Can you imagine? He's talking about his friends.
死に際に立つ人間は正直だ。動物どもと同じ。みんな正面からこちらに向き合って本物の会話をしてくれた。一部を除いては。いい返事だ。それでいいんだ。もっと見せてみろよ、お前の裸の感情を。
お前のためなんかに。
It's Mitsuki.
悲鳴も命乞いも噛み殺して絶命したやつがいたんだった。なんだそりゃ、抵抗のつもりか。
There she is.
この時のなんと満たされなかったことか。
Yeah, there are some people and kids like that. It's a small percentage, but there are people that are like that.
もっと理解し合おうぜ。この空間に来て俺でも少しは変われるのかとの期待も少しはあった。だが人を殺めた後ですら俺に人間らしい感情は湧かなかった。
ゆうや、命は平等なんだ。ちゃんと覚えておけよ。
命は平等。ああ、確かに平等だったさ。 殺す時は同じだったよ。人間も動物も虫けらも。でもまあ殺す感触は同じでも、さすがに人を殺めてしまった罪はもう引き返せないか。後悔はなかったが、もう自分には欲しい未来すら浮かばなかった。なんだ今のは。今俺は誰かを哀れんで。
But it's like he's experiencing feelings randomly. See, he's like, did I just feel pity for someone? Yeah, he's having second thoughts.
お腹パンパン。
And it's freaking him out because he's never had them before.
そう、この感覚だ。この俺が相手を哀れんでいる。そんなに震えて大丈夫かい？
Yuka's making him feel pity.
おトイレに。
なんでここまで我慢を？
さっきお兄ちゃんとはぐれちゃって。
そのはぐれたお兄ちゃんに言わなかったのかい？おトイレに行きたいって。
だってずっとおトイレはどこも使えなくて。あとはおトイレ以外のところでしたって。お兄ちゃんに思われたくなかったから。
献身的な妹。そうだ、これだ。自分より弱い存在守ってあげなきゃ。これだよ、これだ。俺が欲しかったのは。
This is what he was thinking during that scene. That is crazy. This is his thought bubble. I had no idea he was thinking this.
どうかしたんですか、キザミさん。
He nailed that laugh.
この俺が哀れと感じたこのことなら、まだ未来はあるんじゃないか。
If I had this girl by my side, then maybe there could have still been a future for a man like me.
そうだ、哀れむ感情があるならまだ罪を許される要素があるはずだ。この子と暮らせれば。
Yeah, she's making him feel things he's never felt, so he's wondering if she can change him.
そうするか。俺と暮らすか。
He just straight up asked, "Will you live with me?" I need you to help me not be a psychopath. Will you live with me?
私やっぱり一人でお兄ちゃん探します。
一人で？ うしてようやく見つけたのにどうしてこいつも俺から離れていくんだ。ラン！ラビットラン！ダメだ。一緒に行こう。ほら、兄さんの言うことを聞かないからだよ。言うか。
I'd been screaming and crying so much that my throat was now bone dry. I couldn't manage more than a whimper. I think he is starting to change, Casey, because he's flickering like flashes of pity. I don't know if it's gonna be enough though. My throat was actually in a lot of pain. It burned like someone had cut it wide open. Kizumi had raised the knife as if he were about to kill me, but for some reason, he just froze like that. He's hesitating. And all I could do was lie there, struggling to breathe. Aside from his heavy panting, I could only hear the sound of my own chattering teeth. I breathed in as deeply as I could, then mustered every last bit of strength I had. I wanted to call out for help. With all my might, I wanted to call for help. No good. The sentiment was there, but the words couldn't possibly have been heard by anyone else, except the person I didn't want to hear them. My strange scream seemed to have snapped Kizami out of his trance. He brought the tip of his knife down onto my cheek, but didn't break the skin. He was looking down at me with blank eyes. It was like he'd just woken up from a really long dream. I was absolutely certain about that. He may not have found me yet, but I knew he was looking. He was worried. And all over for me, and looking all over for me. It was only a matter of time. Big brother is my prince, after all, and the prince always comes to rescue his princess.
君のお兄ちゃんはここにいるんだから。うるさい。
My struggle to get out the words came to an abrupt end as Kazami's handprints pressed down hard on my face, covering up my nose and mouth and suffocating me. Man, this is crazy. This guy. For all the pain and fear I was feeling, I knew I had a chance to fight back, so I opened my mouth and I bit down hard on his palm. I must have bitten even harder than I thought. I could taste his blood. It was warm and minerally, and slid down my parched throat, easing a little bit of the pain and dryness. That's wild. I didn't care if these were the last words I ever said. I had no regrets. I just wanted to cry out.
来ねえ兄貴なんか来ねえ。
It all happened in an instant. Kizumi just grabbed his head with both hands and let out a cry of pain that didn't even sound human.
なんだこれは。なんなんだよこの声は。
This guy's flipping out.
俺は妹が欲しかったのか。
Too much Schedule 1. Did I really want a little sister?
俺は妹が欲しかった。欲しかったんだ。俺より弱い存在。そうだ。俺を必要とする存在。妹という存在を本当に欲していたのか。そうだ。妹がいれば俺は変われた。痛い。頭が。
He grabbed his head again and began stumbling around. He looked like he was in real pain. There were even tears in his eyes.
くそ何を気づかせたい。今さら俺に理由などいらない。ここに来てからの俺は俺だけのために全てを踏みつけてきた。それは誇りですらある。
Look at her face. She's like, this guy is crazy. 大丈夫。
頭痛いの。床のポケットに頭痛のお薬が入ってます。
Oh, Oh my god, she's so sweet. God. She's offering him medicine, the guy that is trying to kill her. Damn.
出して飲んでいいです。
See, that's really messing with him now. Whoa.
なんでこうなったんだ。妹がいれば俺も兄貴みたいになれたんだ。そうだ、なれたはずだった。
All that screaming brought the big guy.
弟のために泣くようなバカ兄みたい。
He fell to his knees and stayed like that, not moving, not even breathing. After another unnerving yell, the huge man with the hammer just stood there staring at me. He had blood spattered all over him. Somehow, though, I got the impression he wasn't going to attack me.
助けてくれたの？
He reached one hand towards me, slowly and gently. Though it may have been a little too slowly, he moved like a zombie, as if I were watching a TV show in slow motion.
どうしたの？
It almost seemed like he was afraid of me. But I was just a little girl tied up on a table. What could he possibly think I'd do to him?
ここに誰かいるの？
He didn't answer. I wasn't sure he'd heard me, that he'd heard the question. He wasn't looking at me. He was looking past me.
教えて、何があるの？
He's looking at Sachiko.
殺しなさい。
God, man. His mournful yell echoed throughout the room. My arms and legs suddenly went slack. I felt like I could move them now. Slowly, I opened my eyes and confirmed this enormous man had just smashed apart the dry knots that were holding my hands and feet in place. He freed her. I knew I didn't have much time. I tried my hardest to wake up my sleeping hands and feet and shake the broken, splintered ropes from my wrists and ankles. Let's save it. Sachiko is saying kill her, but he hasn't done it yet. Ooh. Okay. I feel like we're not gonna make it to the door. Her arms and legs were still, yeah, her arms and legs are numb. She'd fall or something. I couldn't trust myself to get out of the room safely. I had to think of something else. I had to buy time. It seemed like the little girl was pulling the huge man's strings, and he really didn't want to hurt me, so maybe I could reason with him.
何をしている？殺せ。どうしたの？
He suddenly doubled over and began clawing at his throat, seemingly in a great deal of pain. Reasoning with him really wasn't going to work. He was too unstable, and if it came down to me or the little girl, I was pretty sure I wouldn't win.
今なら逃げられるかも。 他にも何かないかな。
There's a bottle on the ground filled with transparent liquid. What? Yeah, that looks... Oh no, wait. We're getting darkening from this. Right. This feels so random. Like, why? Oh my god. Oh, she threw it. I don't know why I thought she was gonna drink it. He flinched and stumbled backwards. His hammer was still raised, however, and smashed into one of the light bulbs on the ceiling, shattering it. feeling had begun returning to my legs, so I wasted no time. Habitually yelling, "Excuse me," as I left. She yelled "excuse me" as she left. I darted through the dark lab, using what I remembered of its layout to avoid obstacles and reach the door. Sachiko was mad.
お前、わざとか？このクズ！二度とご褒美してやらないぞ。早く追いかけろ。あの小娘何度目だ？お守りの切れ端を持っているのか。運命が定着していない。
You hear that? Maybe she has the paper scrap to keep her safe.
どこか隠れられるところを探さなきゃ。
I could hear the sounds of someone else running, just a short distance in front of me. I couldn't make out who with any certainty, but I did briefly catch a glimpse of a figure retreating into the darkness, and it looked like
お兄ちゃん。今のはお兄ちゃんだったよね。
Run for your life, Yuka. I took off in pursuit. If that was Big Brother, then I just had to catch up to him.
お兄ちゃん、お兄ちゃん。
He must have heard me. His face, his pace. He mustn't have heard me. His pace never slowed. And I saw him disappear around a corner. Are we sure this is him, Yuka?
行っちゃった。早く追いかけなきゃ。お兄ちゃん、お兄ちゃん。
I don't know about this. I don't know. Like, because he would have stopped, right? He would have stopped. She said he turned a corner. Suddenly my field of vision started going topsy-turvy. Why was I falling? It was an earthquake, but it was more than just that. The floor beneath me was moving up and down, in time with the quake's left and right motion.
お兄ちゃん、お兄ちゃん。
I tried putting one hand on the floor for balance and getting back to my feet.
早くお兄ちゃんを追いかけなきゃいけないのに、完全に見失っちゃう。
I thought I'd done it. I was standing now and started getting used to the vibrations. As long as I hugged the walls, I could walk. But that all quite literally came crashing down around me soon enough. The wildly shaking floor cracked, then crumbled, and I was free falling. So she's falling through the floor? This place is ridiculous. I raised my head and found myself lying on top of the pile of rubble. It wasn't too much worse than where I wasn't too much worse for wear, all things considered.
ここどこ
I looked around me frantically, but saw nothing even remotely familiar. She's in the cellar, like the mine shaft. This wasn't definitely someplace new. Yeah, she's definitely in the mine. And it didn't feel much like a school anymore. The walls and the floor were made of packed dirt, with only railroad ties keeping it all together.
なんかカビ臭い
I knew I was underground, I had to be. It just felt that way. There were no windows anywhere. And based on the smell, there was no ventilation either.
なんか息苦しいなそうだお兄ちゃん
Big brother might have gotten caught off guard too by that earthquake. Thought he could be down here. It was a big one after all. Maybe he was injured. Maybe he couldn't move.
早く探さなきゃ
I tried pushing myself up from the pile of rubble, ready to shoot to my feet and continue the search. That didn't last long, however. My hands and feet were still a little numb by the ropes, making it hard to keep my balance. I fell back to my butt. What? My underwear was completely waterlogged, like a full sponge. Okay. It squished unpleasantly on the debris, sending a cold chill through my entire body.
何これ
I reached down and felt it, and it was absolutely soaked. It would take forever to dry.
そうだ私おもらししちゃってたんだ
Hey, potato. Oh yeah, she did wet herself. That's right. Forgot about that. I was so wrapped up and ready for my life after chasing after Big Brother, I didn't even notice the wetness. But now I couldn't even get that out of my mind.
気持ち悪いよ
Tears were welling up in my eyes. How could I be so pathetic? I forced myself to my feet, doing the best I could to ignore the squishy sensation. I wouldn't be able to ignore it for long, though. Wait. My panties were noticeably heavier now, and the urine they absorbed was practically ice cold. I couldn't go on like this. I was gonna get a rash or catch an pneumonia or something, and every step was gonna be its own form of mushy gushy hell. Mushy gushy. But what could I do? I could take them off, then what? Carry them with me? Ew. Leave them on the floor for someone else to find? No thanks.
お兄ちゃん
I feel like she's worrying about the wrong thing right now. You know, just... I swallowed my pride, held back my tears as best as I could, and waddled forward.
どこか脱げる場所ないかな
I But I can see why she's concerned about that, because she's over here offering medicine to Kazami. She's saying excuse me as she's running for her life, right? These are the kind of things I can see why she's worried about that. Alright, so where now? Where do we go? Oh no, death room. Here, you can use the restroom. Leave them in there. The only bathrooms I'd seen up to this point were unusable. Charms on the door mysteriously sealing the room shut. Bodies hanging from the stalls. But this looked to be a completely normal bathroom. Certainly the most normal I'd seen since getting stuck in this place anyway. Alright, can you go inside of it? Couldn't really rotate anything. It's repeating the dialogue, so there's something in here. There's a loose piece of wood on the ground here. I tried pulling on one of the wooden stall doors. She's so polite, man. It just makes it worse that this is happening to her. I listened carefully for any hint of a response, even going as far as to hold my breath. Where there wasn't a single sound to be heard, the entire room was dead silent. The walls were made of packed dirt, after all, and there was a lot of moisture in the air. Effectively, this whole place was naturally soundproofed. I backed away from the stall slightly and almost tripped over a fairly sizable crack in the ground, about 5 centimeters wide and 1 centimeter thick. Finally, I was able to get out of those waterlogged panties despite being alone. That's so awkward to read. I'm still crouched down and removed them. I still crouched down and removed them as discreetly as I could. I then stuffed them tightly into the crack I discovered. Alright, at least she got rid of them.
全部入らないや。布がはみ出ちゃう。もっと大きく広げられればいいんだけど。どうしよう。そうだ。この木で隙間を大きくすれば。ゆかのこんな姿、お兄ちゃんに見られなくてよかった。どうか誰にも見つかりませんように。特にお兄ちゃんには。
Not that Big Brother would be likely to wander into the girls' bathroom. But it was possible, given the circumstances. So just to be safe, I figured it couldn't hurt to pray that it didn't happen.
でも、もうちょっと奥に詰めておこうかな。
Yuka, we don't have time for this.
誰かに見つかったら恥ずかしいもんね。よし。
My underwear was now totally buried and out of sight. There was no way anyone could come across it if they didn't know they were there. Satisfied, I stood up.
スースーしてやだな。でも濡れたまま履いてたらもっと気持ち悪いし。さっきから地震ばかり。ここ大丈夫かな。さっきよりも古い建物だけど壊れちゃわないかな。
I peeked my head out from the bathroom and looked around.
誰もいないよね。お兄ちゃん、お兄ちゃん。
My voice echoed a lot louder than I was expecting. It actually surprised me considering the wet, dirty walls. I didn't think it would travel that far. I'm like I'm like thinking to myself, why are they screaming in this place? I think the writers, Cardi, are just super detailed because they do this about everything. Like, a few episodes ago, they spent 20 minutes. A character spent 20 minutes trying to decide if he wanted to enter his teacher's apartment. Like, the writers are just super detailed like that.
他にお兄ちゃんの友達とか誰かいれば。
Thank you for the chocolate.
臭い。手洗いたいな。
I really want to wash my hands. I began walking around the hall once again. This time a bit slower and more unevenly due to exhaustion. Choco mucho. Alright, let's get out of here. Yeah. I knew I'd find something right here. Another student. Kyugo Shiba. Okay. Body pool. Death room. Yeah, we're not going here right away. Storehouse. The door to this particular room was shuddering, ever so slightly, as if there were a breeze blowing against it
なんか
from the
来
inside.
そう。
Slowly and hesitantly, I put both hands on the doorknob and turned.
入れるみたい。よし、入ってみよう。出口につながってるといいな。ひどい匂い。
As soon as the door opened even a crack, a powerful, horrible stench slammed into my face and twisted around my nasal cavities like a jet of water.
これ、何かが腐った匂いだ。
I was instantly feeling nauseous and lightheaded, as if I were suddenly deprived of oxygen.
もうダメ。早く出よう。
Don't tell me this is that place with all the bodies in it. It has to. It's called Body Pool. It has to be.
水の音。水があるのかな。
Holding my nose, I stepped back into the room and crept over towards the source of the noise. If there were water in here, then maybe I could wash my hands, I thought.
お水、どこ？
The extreme thirst came back with full force as well. Clean water was the greatest thing I could have possibly found at this point. I accidentally kicked over a bucket, spilling its contents to the ground in front of me. Countless flies immediately flew out from the overturned bucket and began swarming all around me. Their buzzing wings sounded right against my ears, as if they were attacking me. I let go of my nose and began flailing my arms wildly, attempting in vain to drive them away.
前が見えないよ。
As I haphazardly stumbled forward, I found my foot splashing in shallow liquid. Mere moments later, my hand came in contact with the wall and brushed against the switch. I heard a faint clicking sound and then... Oh, it is the room. It is this place. The lights blinked on, and I got a clear look at the room I was standing in.
ここ。死体。
A large portion of the floor had been dug out into something resembling a pool, which was filled with stagnant, discolored water and dismembered bodies. The bodies were decomposing a lot faster than they naturally would. How do you know that, Yuka? On account of the wetness. Most of them had swarms of maggots instead of faces. Several bodies had actually washed up on the ground outside the pool as well. Those few that still had limbs looked like they may have lost them at any moment. Their torsos were all swollen and black, and everything else was bone white.
なんで死体がこんなに集まって。
The closest body was spurting a sappy mucus from its nose and mouth, and staring at me with an ugly, mean expression. The thick fluid coming out of its reddish brown in color, and seemed to be a disgusting mixture of blood and dead bugs. Oh my goodness.
何の音？
See, they're very descriptive. Some sort of huge door high along the top of the wall opened up, and I could clearly feel a breeze blowing through the room. Was it a trash chute?
ここを登っていけば元の場所に戻れるかな。今度は何の音？何か聞こえる。近づいてくる。
I was afraid of what might be coming through that hole, so I put some distance between it and me. Something heavy fell from above and splashed into the pool. Oh my god. Spraying my face with rotten, stagnant water. Fetish. Yeah, he's dropping the bodies down here. He's still alive. The body that had just fallen into the pool of water was wearing a school uniform. As soon as it touched the liquid, it began bubbling and melting into it, as if it were a bag of ingredients tossed into a stew pot. One of the poor victim's lungs floated to the surface, giving the whole scene even more of a sick, soup-like appearance. You definitely do not want to crawl up there, Yuka. I dragged my wet foot on a dry part of the ground for a second or two, then made a dash for the door. As soon as I was back out in the hall, I fell to my knees in shock. I couldn't even move. The smell of death and decay was sticking to me and still trying to snake its way into my nose. It was all I could do to not throw up on the spot. I hadn't eaten anything in hours, so I'm not even sure what I would have actually thrown up, but it still felt like I had to, more strongly than ever before. Maybe it would have been best just to let it come out. I'm sure I would have felt better afterwards. But I honestly didn't want to see my own vomit right now. And after all the disgusting things I'd seen, I'd had enough.
どうしてこんなことになっちゃったの？
At times like this especially, I really longed for my big brother. If only he was here with me. I cried out for him as if in prayer.
お兄ちゃん、助けて。助けて。動けないの。誰かいるの？誰かいるの？あひ、苦しいよ。
There was a little girl here with arms outstretched, begging for help. I rushed over to her side.
どうしたの？大丈夫？
She was faintly glowing.
この子、幽霊？あのね、お腹が苦しいの。お胸が熱いよ。とっても辛そう。床にできることは。ここ、怪我はしてないみたいだけど、痛むの？痛いよ。
She's messing with her, yeah.
えーと、
All I could do for her was offer physical comfort. If I rubbed her back, maybe she'd feel better.
ありがとう。ごめんね。こんなことしかできなくて。ちょっと、楽になったの。そう？よかった。
The girl grimaced again, as if she were experiencing some new pain all of a sudden.
まだ無理しない方がいいよ。ね？うん。あなたもここに迷い込んだの？わかんない。気がついたらここで倒れてたの。気がついたら。ずっと寂しかった。そっか。一人で寂しかったね。よく頑張ったね。
Sachiko is something else, man. I gently brushed my hand against the little girl's face, wiping away her tears. I'd only just met her, but I already felt for her. She had it a lot worse than I did.
あなた、お名前は？幸子。幸子。幸子ちゃんっていうのね。うん。私はゆかだよ。持田ゆか。ゆか？ゆかお姉ちゃん？お姉ちゃん？お姉ちゃんか。
You hear her laugh? That made her happy. She's like, oh, I'm the big sister now. I'm the big sibling.
なんか、お姉ちゃんって呼ばれると照れちゃうなって。
I took Sachiko's tiny hand in mine and pulled her to her feet.
よし、立てるね。
Sachiko's hand was so thin and light compared to my own. Not just light, it felt like it was almost completely weightless.
やっぱり、幽霊なんだ。
Sachiko noticed me staring at her, and I must have had quite the look on my face. This seemed to bother her, so I did my best to force a smile. I'm sure she was worried I'd leave her all by herself again, and I wanted to make sure she knew I was here for her.
どうしたのお姉ちゃん？ち っと考え事してて。ごめんなさい。
Sachiko lowered her head and looked like she was about to cry.
どうして謝るの？幸子、多分幽霊だから。お姉ちゃんと違うから怖がらせちゃって。ごめんなさい。よかったらこんな小さい子を不安にさせるなんて。
I took Sachiko's hand in both of mine, turning to face her and ducking down a little so our eyes were level.
大丈夫だよ。幽霊は怖いけど、なんだかあなたは怖くない気がするの。怖くない？本当に？幸子ちゃんは大丈夫。お姉ちゃん行っちゃうの？
I did have to think for a moment since I knew I couldn't take a ghost with me very far. But in the end, I also knew I couldn't just leave her.
幸子ちゃんも一緒にゆかのお兄ちゃんを探してくれる？お兄ちゃん？うん、すっごく頼りになるの。きっと幸子ちゃんにも優しくしてくれるよ。
Her head was still down, but her eyes were peeking up at me. She looked nervous, but for the first time since we started talking, she also looked hopeful.
幸子も一緒に行っていいの
The white Sachiko? She was kind of like this, I guess. She was like normal, like a normal little girl. I'm wondering if like this is her messing with her, or if this is because you know how earlier it was like there were two sides of her in the beginning. So I'm not sure. She could just be messing with Yuka.
もう一人じゃないよ。ゆかが、お姉ちゃんがそばにいるからね。
Honestly, I was lonely too. I probably wanted her with me just as badly as she wanted someone with her. Ghost or no.
さあ、行こう、幸子ちゃん。
I turned to head back down the hall, but it was stopped by Sachiko tugging on my uniform. She was wearing a forced smile on her face, but still looked uneasy.
お姉ちゃん、私の言うこと聞く？言うことって？
Was she going to tell me what to do? I was so surprised by the question. I wasn't sure how best to respond. But the longer I thought about it, the more uneasy she looked, so.
お姉ちゃんね、あなたのお話なら聞くよ。ほんと？うん、だから何でも話してね。
Also, Yuki, like, now that I'm thinking about it, all of this, everything that's happening right now is before the end of the first game, so they didn't even appease her yet. So she's probably just messing around. Because this happened before. This happened in the first game. But we never really saw what went on in the mind fully. So a lot of this is new. There was clearly something specific she had in mind, but I wasn't gonna push her about it. She'd ask me when she was ready. Yeah, she wasn't appeased yet at this point. She seemed satisfied with my answer and let go of my uniform. And so, hand in hand, we continued down the hall in search of my big brother. But this is all new to me, because I never saw what happened in the mine shaft, so...
お兄ちゃん、やっぱりここにはいないのかな。そうだね。幸子ちゃん、ゆかの他には誰も見なかった？
It makes you wonder, right? Like, why is she just going along with it?
うん。
Like, is she really just messing with her? To this extent? That's all she said, and then silently, she squatted on the ground and wrapped her arms and legs around her knees.
どうしたの？どこか痛いの？お姉ちゃん、寒いよ。寒い？
She nodded firmly.
そっか。幽霊でも痛みを感じるなら、きっと寒さも感じるよね。かわいそう。
As if to show me just how cold she was. She then started to visibly shivering.
ねえ、幸子ちゃん、何かゆかにできることない？何か。そう、幸子ちゃんがこれ以上辛くならないように、何でも言って。じゃあ、お姉ちゃんのそれ、ちょうだい。
She was pointing at my feet.
靴下？
This was the first time I noticed that Sachiko was walking around barefoot. I was so busy worrying about myself and about finding my big brother that I completely failed to pay attention to the poor Sachiko's appearance.
ごめんね、すぐ気がつかなくて。いいの。
Sachiko shook her head.
私お姉ちゃんなのに、もっと早く気づいてあげられればよかった。
Okay. If I were big brother, I would have noticed right away and given her my socks and shoes. But it wasn't too late. I took off my shoes and socks and offered them to Sachiko. They were a little wet, but still better than walking on these cold dirt floors in bare feet. Just give her the socks or the shoes. Like, you both have one. Brocon. I didn't really like the idea of doing that myself. But just one look at this poor lost soul shaking convinced me I was doing the right thing.
ありがとうお姉ちゃん。
Sachiko took the socks, leaving the shoes in my hand.
幸子ちゃん、靴下だけでいいの？上履きは？うん。だってお姉ちゃんが裸足になっちゃうでしょ？
Well, that's awfully kind of her. She flashed a gentle smile at me, which stayed on her face the whole time. She slowly put on both socks.
床お姉ちゃんに怪我してほしくないから。そっか、優しいんだね、幸子ちゃんは。
I patted her head, just like Big Brother always did to me.
お姉ちゃん大好き。
Her smile had grown. It now stretched from cheek to cheek, and I began to feel like I'd do anything at all to keep her happy. I'd wonder if this is how my brother felt when I smiled at him like that.
頑張ろうね、幸子ちゃん。
Despite the severity of the situation, I was in high spirits. I almost forgot just how horrible this place really was.
頑張る？うん、お兄ちゃんを見つけられるように。
She couldn't hold it in any longer. It slipped.
幸子ちゃん、今何か言った？
I thought that was a giggle, but it sounded different. Somehow like her voice had changed to someone else's. Or someone else was here.
ううん。かわいい。むちゃくちゃしたい。何？うんうん、何も言ってないよ。そっか、気のせいかな。
Well, we found our answer. She really is just messing with her. What was it they usually see in movies? Must have been the wind. Not too likely in a stagnant underground bunker like this, but still.
きっと怖がりすぎなのかも。
Yeah, it was so funny to her, she let it slip. She couldn't hold it in any longer.
もっとしっかりしなくちゃ。お姉ちゃんなんだから。
I put on the bravest face I could manage and marched back into the hall, pausing only to make sure Sachiko was still behind me.
お姉ちゃん。何？どうしたの？足が痛いの。足？
The soles of Sachiko's feet seemed to be bothering her quite a bit. As we stood there, I noticed she was fidgeting in place, trying not to stand on them.
そうだよね。幸子ちゃん、靴下だけだもんね。
She's a ghost, Yuka. She said nothing else. She just stared at my feet. She seemed to want my shoes now. but didn't want to say anything since I offered them earlier and she turned them down. So I just smiled and decided to offer them again.
私の上履き履く？いいの？うん、幸子ちゃんまた怪我しちゃうもんね。お姉ちゃんは？ゆかはお姉ちゃんだから大丈夫だよ。
I wouldn't accept any objections. I just took off my shoes and handed them to Sachiko, without another word. Cheerfully, she slipped them on over my socks. They were a little big on her, but I knew she'd feel better just having them.
ありがとう。嬉しい。じゃあ行こっか。
She must have fell. Sachiko wasn't used to such a big floppy shoe. She took one step and stumbled forward.
大丈夫？手つないでてあげるよ。うん。ゆかお姉ちゃん大好き。幸子ちゃん、ここは何もなかったから引き返そう。そう。このまま進んでていいのかな。こっちがいい。
Sachiko was pointing down the hall toward a spot where the earthquake had dropped me.
こっち？こっちに何かあるの？わかんない。けどこっち。何の音だろう。あそこに入りたい。あそこ？でもあそこは鍵が。今開いた音がしたの。何かあるの？お願い。入りたいの。そっか。じゃあそっちに行こうか。
Sachiko nodded firmly, then practically dragged me by the hand over to the door near my entry point in this underground maze. Oh, the storehouse.
うわあ、なんかここ広いね。あっち。
Energetic as can be, Sachiko pulled me farther into the darkened room.
待って、幸子ちゃん。
Ah. She stepped on glass or something? I suddenly felt a sharp pain in the sole of my foot and looked down to see what I stepped on. A nail. The floor was actually kind of a mess. It was bumpy and uneven, and there were all kinds of tiny, sharp-looking objects scattered everywhere. Not just rusty nails, but bits of glass, loose wooden boards with jagged edges and splinters, and plenty else I couldn't identify. This place is trashed, man.
血が出ちゃった。かわいい。幸子ちゃん？どうしたのお姉ちゃん。あれ？そっちにいたの？何だったんだろう今の声。
Yeah, there's glass everywhere. She took her shoes, then led her to this room.
小さい。まだ子供だったのかな。そうだ、幸子ちゃんは今いくつなのかな。いくつ？そう、何歳かな。小学生だよね。わかんない。思い出せないの。そっか。ごめんなさい。
Sachiko stood there with her head hung low and a look of disdain on her face. She didn't say another word. It seemed safe to assume that she probably didn't have any memories of when she was alive at all.
ごめんね。気にしないでね。うん。ごめんなさい。
Looking a little bit closer at the pile of bones, there seemed to be a student ID tag. So this is Yukari, student, yes, an elementary school student. It's another ID. So futon.
これ何？これポラロイドカメラ？
Sachiko had found an old, oversized instant camera lying somewhere and was holding it up triumphantly in her hands.
眩しい。びっくりした。まだ使えるんだね。持って行ってもいい？いいけど重いよ。大丈夫。